The following video is meant to educate as well as entertain consumers. While we do show short clips, these are used to highlight points being discussed with regard to mental health topics. We are licensed mental health counselors who utilize pop culture to educate people in a fun and amusing way with regard to mental health.
What do you get when you take some therapists and put them in front of a screen to watch something creeping back from childhood that should have never been for children or preteens? They're gonna dive right in and reassess those flicks. What's more scary and disturbing than you realize and gave you nervous tics? They're the movies that traumatized us.
Hi, well, welcome to the movies that traumatized us, and tonight we're talking about Stand By Me.
You don't realize this is the second Will Wheaton movie we've done. Also, the second Kiefer Sutherland movie we've done.
Right?
Like,
it was not intentional.
I mean, it wasn't. I really hope, I never did see a response. I tagged Will Wheaton on on my post on Twitter for it. I never saw a response, so I don't know if he ever saw it. I really hope he drops it on the stream. I would be starstruck if he did, but I don't think that he will, because I don't know that he actually saw it. But
yeah, I don't think he saw it either. I tagged him, and, this probably will not be the last Will Wheaton movie.
I probably won't be. God only knows. Who else? Wasn't there someone else in this movie that we did another movie with? Corey Feldman. This is the second Corey Feldman movie, because he was also in The Lost Boys with Kiefer Sutherland.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes. So 3 people in the course of 2 movies. 2 of whom starred in the same movies.
Yes.
Odd. Strange. Randoms. Also, random fact, in case you guys didn't notice it, I think we talked about this before, but Will Wheaton also voiced the voice of Martin from The Secret of NIMH, and we covered The Secret of NIMH several
over
videos
6
back.
months ago.
It was like our fourth episode or something, 4th or 5th episode.
Yeah, I think that was April or May. We did Secret of NIMH.
Yeah, but Secret of NIMH took place 4 years before this movie. Mm-hmm. So there was a 4-year gap between The Secret of NIMH and Stand By Me.
So I think Stand By Me was before Lost Boys, because Corey Feldman looks a lot younger.
Yes.
He did in Lost Boys.
Yeah, there's I didn't go and look what the gap was between Feldman doing Stand By Me and then doing Lost Boys. I'm pretty sure that there's like a couple year gap in there. Because this came out in 84.
Yeah, so yeah, I think Lost Boys was maybe 89.
Yeah.
So yeah, quite a few years.
Yes, yeah, there was a bit of a stretch between them. But so the whole premise of Stand By Me, actually, it's a really nice. We've done a lot of low trauma movies, and this one actually is also a low key trauma movie. I'm just gonna throw that out there early. There's not. But what this movie highlights is really good male bonding. Like, I mean, it highlights really good male bonding. We do see a lot of toxic masculinity, even between the good male bonding stuff that happens in this movie.
Oh, the 80s.
Yeah. So
80s looking at 1959. So.
Yes, it's the 80s looking at 1959. And it's really not a bad stretch. Although I will say that Richard Dreyfuss was a horrible pick to play an adult Will Wheaton. Now that I know what adult Will Wheaton looks like, I can look at Richard Dreyfuss and be like, no, that should never have been your pick for adult Will Wheaton.
No, but it was.
I mean, that alone is almost a little traumatizing to me now that I think about it.
I think it had a lot of coming of age trauma that kids have, and grief throughout their life too.
Well, and that is another thing. This movie does talk a lot about grief, in its own way. It does it in a very subtle way, because there's the whole issue of grief happening around Will Wheaton's character, because his older brother died, and he kind of becomes a forgotten child inside of his household. His parents. Well, I don't know what to tell you. Like,
I don't know what to tell you either, because I'm way away from my microphone.
I opposite audio issues.
You compare us too well. Maybe if I'm like really quiet, it'll even us out.
I don't know. You might just have your gain set differently than I do.
I don't know what
But
that
my
means.
gain's all the way up, so I don't know. Mine shouldn't do that. Man, I don't know. Maybe. Well, I also have a sore throat, so I might be talking softer than I usually do too. But where was I? Grief. There is that whole, part, where he's pretty much grieving the loss of his brother the whole movie. Kind of recent, also even grieving the loss of his parents, because his parents have just sort of forgotten him and abandoned him to whatever devices throw the world throws at him.
Like that one scene where his Will Wheaton, or his character Gordy, reached outside and was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go do this," and his parents are like, "Yeah, whatever." They're moving like zombies outside. What are you doing?
That's how far away my mic is from me. Well, I was just measuring here to here, and then. Yeah.
My big boom mic isn't even plugged in. This is all from the camera.
That's why. That's why. I mean, I'm using my actual mic.
But then
Don't
I
switch
sound
it now because then you sound horrible. Don't mess with it.
I'm not messing with it, because I'll be damned. Anytime I touch something when this is on, bad things happen.
Yeah, bad things happen. Don't mess with it. Don't let bad things happen. I don't have a night. I don't have room for bad things tonight.
Yeah, no, you're kind of stuck with this volume, guys. Sorry. I'll try to talk lower.
I mean, it's got to just be the mic. That's really all it is. I mean, I would never compare dick sizes. That's just weird and strange for me.
When did dick sizes become a thing?
I don't know. What I really find interesting is it's chat that's making things weird this time, not us.
Wow. Yeah, that's...
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with chat making things weird. And it not being us for a change.
Right. As soon as someone mentioned dick sizes, Sushi picks his head up. Like, that. Okay, you're a weird cat.
I mean, yes, the hairless sphinx who was like dick sizes. Meow.
Well, he was gonna be named some weird name for a penis until I decided Sushi. So.
Alrighty then.
So, where was that leech again?
Right? Oh my god, I still can't believe that scene. No wonder he passes out. I mean, could you imagine? To the guys out there, please tell me, how do you feel about having a leech on your nutsack?
Or for the women, how do you feel about having a leech on your vulva? That would be the equivalent.
Yeah, that would be the equivalent. Like a leech on your outer, your large labia. I mean, that's the equivalent right there.
I feel I would have to I'm really uncomfortable just thinking about it.
I mean, I'm uncomfortable thinking about it. I don't know that it would make me pass out, but
it wouldn't make me pass out because I'll save this story for when we have the clip. But anyway. Yes, I have an outdoor critter story in the crotch region, and we'll save that for when that clip happens.
I don't even want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. No.
You may not want to know, but it might intrigue the listeners.
I mean, I'm not sure they want it. Back to Stand By Me. This all has relevance. This happens in the movie, but yes. I mean, aside from that, the rest of the movie, I mean, the rest of the time is all kind of is really all male bonding, but they're also bonding over specific trauma in this movie, and that trauma is going to see a dead body. It's been about 10 minutes. You did the traumatizing yourself. I just want to say that's not the fault of the therapist this time. We didn't do it. You did it to yourself. I claim no responsibility.
We didn't even look up Rule 34 or anything.
I know, right? Right? What was I gonna Rule 34 this one? A dead body? I mean,
gosh, please, no, there's nothing. There's nothing. I need to bleach my brain. Nope, there's nothing.
So they bond over the trauma of going to see a dead body. That's really what this is about. And I mean, if you want to get down to the nitty gritty of the title, like Stand By Me, it's all about standing by one another through this kind of adventure and hardship. Because they actually do suffer some hardship along the way. They have plenty of scares. They have plenty of moments that cause them to bond, in good, positive ways. And then they have plenty of moments that cause them to bond over trauma. And it all takes place in the movie, and it's very well done. And then the flip side to that, before we move on, this was, if you guys don't know it, based on a short by Stephen King. I think it was called The Body.
The Body, yeah.
So this whole movie came out of that short by Stephen King. So anyways, our first clip, I believe, is them talking about going to going to see the body, or finding out about it.
Yeah, it's Jerry Conley's character underneath the porch looking for his pennies, hearing his brother and his brother's friend talk about the body.
Which, to be specific, with as much as he's dug the fuck up underneath this porch, I don't know how he didn't find these damn pennies.
Right?
Somebody came along and took them.
His brother probably took
I'm just
them.
throwing that out there before I start playing this.
At the beginning of the school year, he had buried a quart jar of pennies underneath his house. He drew a treasure map so he could find them again. A week later, his mom cleaned out his room and threw away the map. Vern had been trying to find those pennies for 9 months. 9 months, man.
Swiss cheese.
He didn't know whether to laugh or cry.
Jesus Christ, Billy, we gotta do something.
Why? Who cares?
We saw him.
So? It ain't nothing to us. The kid's dead, so it ain't nothing to him neither. And who gives a shit if they ever find him? I don't.
But it's that kid they were talking about on the radio. Brocker. Or Brower, or Flowers, whatever his name is. The train.
By the way, this kid looking for the pennies.
Big fucking deal.
We had all followed the Ray Brower story very closely.
Jerry
because
Conley.
He was a kid
That's right.
our age.
There
3
you
days
go.
before, he had gone out to pick blueberries.
Sliders.
Nobody'd seen him since.
I think we should tell the cops.
And Billions.
You don't go squawking to the cops after you boosted a car, you idiot. They're gonna want to know how the hell we got way out on Back Harlow Road. Now they know we don't got no car. It's best we just keep our mouths shut.
This is
and they
almost
can't
like
touch
watching
us.
The Outsiders
can
and
make an
pointing out
anonymous
like
call.
Patrick Swayze and Tom Cruise and
Trace those
Christian
calls,
Slater.
stupid. I seen it on Highway
Right,
Patrol and on
right.
Dragnet.
Yeah, right. I just wish we never boosted that goddamn Dodge.
They boosted a Dodge. A Dodge. They boosted a Dodge.
Yeah, listen to that 50s slang.
Well, no, boosted is fine. Boosted, I get. I understand boosted. They boosted a Dodge. A piece of shit Dodge. That's the car they boosted, was a Dodge.
I know nothing about vehicles besides it gets you to point A to point B. I know there's a big Ford Dodge rivalry that has happened.
I'm just saying, of all the things to boost in the 50s. Ugh, damn it, Kai, that was terrible. I can't even. You boosting Reinhardt at least causes a lot of detrimental damage. But, I mean, if you're gonna boost something in the 50s, why wouldn't you boost, I don't know, anything from Chevy? Shit, their cars in the 50s were amazing. Just
Maybe they wanted to be low-key.
Well, I mean, we have seen Kiefer Sutherland's car in this show, and it is a piece of shit. just saying.
The Adam Sandler song, Piece of Shit Car, fits perfectly. It's a piece of shit car.
I don't know if there's anything else from this clip that I think is relevant, because... Oh, wait, this is where they decide to get together to go and see it. to see the body, right? This is where they make that decision. I
Sure.
believe is on here as well.
It comes to a dead end by the Royal River. The train tracks are right there. Me and my dad used to fish for Cossies out there.
Jesus Christ, man. If they would have known you were under there, they would have killed you. Could he have gotten all the way from Chamberlain to Harlem? That's really far. Sure.
What?
He must have started walking on the train tracks and just followed them the whole way.
Yeah, right. And then after dark, train must have come along and all smacko.
Yeah. Hey, you guys. I bet you anything that if we find him, we'll get our pictures in the paper.
Yeah, we could even be on TV.
Sure.
We'll be heroes.
Yeah.
I love that that's how this starts. We'll get our pictures in the paper. We can even be on TV. We'll be heroes.
Yes, it's all about being famous.
By the way, that is such a kid mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I find the thing that no one even knows is missing yet, I'll be a hero.
Right, and today's equivalent would be, we're gonna go viral, or we're gonna be YouTube stars, or Twitch stars, or whatever they're gonna stream it live on some social platform.
Right. So, they formulate this plan, right? Under the auspice of we'll become heroes. And they start their journey. And they go out looking for this body. You know I just said how this order was supposed to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be damned if I didn't already forget what the next one was gonna be.
Ugh. I actually have to
Was
forget.
it wasn't the was it the shotgun scene?
The firearm scene? Let me see.
It was either or was it I don't know, so we ended up actually having 3 that don't have numbers on them. I totally missed the Chris and Gordy having shotgun scene, and because next would have been the bullies, I thought.
Yep, next is the bullies, I think. Yeah. We're totally prepared today, guys.
I love it when we're organized.
I know, this was not the week to be
This is
organized.
totally my fault, because I figured out the clip order right before we got started, and I didn't relabel clips for the right order. That is 100% on me. Did you figure out what scene where the shotgun goes?
Shotgun will go after the bullies.
So it goes bully, shotgun, and then it goes onto the chopper scene.
Yeah,
Okay, so all of that happens before the train. Got it.
exactly.
So next, I'm on top of things tonight. What can I say? Not everything can be perfect when we do this, apparently. As hard as we try, we always still manage to let something slip through the cracks, whether it's audio, clip organization.
One day we will have, it go off without a hitch.
Without a hitch, it'll go perfectly. You know when it's gonna go perfectly? It's gonna go perfectly next month. I don't know. Are we actually gonna, side note, are we actually gonna do the 2 streams next month?
I don't think that's a good idea.
You don't think so? I was gonna say I'm totally down if you think you can haul it.
I don't think I can haul it, just being honest.
Okay. So then, but we are doing, I assume, then we're doing Gremlins.
Yes.
Okay. Next month, Gremlins. A little early for you guys to find that out. Next month, Gremlins. And before anybody asks why we're doing Gremlins at Christmas, it's a goddamn Christmas movie.
I mean, we could do Die Hard. It's a Christmas movie, too.
But Die Hard wasn't really... Die Hard has its traumatizing moments. And I mean, the only reason I would want to do Die Hard is just so I could say yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Which I just said anyways. But it's... Come on, Die Hard.
So...
Alright, so anyways, moving on. The bullies.
Saw me. Shit, Gordy, she thought it was firecrackers. I don't care. That was a mean trick, Chris. Hey, Gordy. I didn't know it was loaded. Honest. You swear? Yeah, I swear.
On your mother's name?
Yeah.
Even if she goes to hell because you lied?
Yeah, I swear.
Pinky swear?
Oh, wait a minute. Are they talking about bullets?
Pinky swear.
Yeah.
Oops. Messed up on the order.
Hey, girls, where you going?
Hey, come on, man. My
I
brother
love
gave me
the
that.
fact that the pinky
Are you
swear
giving it
though
to
was,
me?
was
Give it
more
to me. Come on,
damning
man.
than
That's
your
mine.
mother going to hell if you lied.
You a real
Right.
asshole, you know that?
Ooh. Your brother's not very polite, Eyeball.
Now, Christopher, I know you didn't mean to insult my friend.
I know you didn't mean
Who's that guy? Is that the other Corey?
That's why I'm gonna give him the opportunity of taking it back.
We had this discussion while the movie was going on,
We
too.
did.
Oh, shit.
Take it back.
Oh, come on, man. Stop it. You're hurting him. Bastard, let go, man. Stop it, man.
Take it back,
Cut it out.
kid.
Oh. Cut it
Take
out.
it back.
Okay, I take it back. I take it back.
There. I feel a whole lot better about this. How about you? Good.
And Kiefer is who, like, the town expects Chris to grow up to
See
be.
you later, girls.
Well, no, they expect him to grow up like his brother Eyeball, who's in pretty much the same position. If we're being
Right.
honest, he's not any better.
No, he's not.
So, I mean, the town expects, you know, Chris to grow up to be this, you know, troublemaker, you know, street rat kind of kid who doesn't, you know, follow the rules, does his own thing, steals shit, you know, is just an all-around general troublemaker. Not a good, decent, I say that with heavy quotation marks, good, decent kid, right? He's definitely not your Sunday school kid from the 1950s who, you know, leave it to beavers it by the book and, you know, he's just not, he's not that kid, even though he's not actually a bad kid. And we learned that, and I don't think we actually have a clip explaining that, actually, now that I think about it. I didn't see it in here, but I could be wrong.
It's in the milk money scene.
Is it the milk money scene? Yeah,
Mhm.
You're right. That is the milk money scene. So we'll get to it when they talk about it. But he basically gets accused of stealing the milk money, and he just says he did it. Because that's what everybody expected. And
But he did do it, though.
Huh?
He did do it, though.
Well, he did. But then he didn't.
Yeah, then he gave it back.
He gave it back because he felt guilty. So, but we'll get there when we get there. But it's important. So, I thought the shotgun scene was next.
The shotgun scene apparently was before, because that's when they were swearing about the bullets, but still.
Yeah, this is the part where Will Wheaton is on his way to pick everybody up. So yeah, this scene technically happens before.
It was almost.
It's not really a
noon when he set
shotgun,
out
it's a
to find
handgun.
the
It's a
body
handgun,
of a
yeah,
dead
not a
kid
shotgun.
named Ray Brower.
I saw shotgun and was thinking,
Right here's cool.
ha! Ha! Nikki just popped.
Thanks a lot.
Sure thing.
Gordo.
Hey, man.
You want to see something?
Sure, what?
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Come on, man. What is it?
Oh, man, you gotta see this.
Welcome
Man,
back.
what is it?
At least it timed out when we were playing a video.
Yeah, so this scene should have happened before the other scene. This is what happens when it was labeled, not by us.
You want to be the lone
Right.
ranger, the Cisco kid.
This is a handgun.
Talking. Jesus. Where'd you get this?
Hopped it from my old man's bureau. It's 45.
I can see that.
They need gun safety lessons.
Oh yeah, everybody always
You got
like
shells for it? Yeah.
finger on the trigger the
Took
whole
all that
time.
was left in the box. My dad'll think that he used them himself shooting at beer cans while he was drunk.
But he didn't even check to see if it was loaded or not. We
What
just
do you think
assumed
I
it was not.
Jesus! Let's get out of here!
I think that's my favorite part when he's like,
Who did that? Who's that?
Will Wheaton's faces are hilarious.
I know.
Oh man, you should have seen your face.
He makes the
Damn,
best
that was
faces.
cool.
I'm not gonna lie.
really
Like he really
trying.
does.
Yeah.
He makes the best faces throughout the whole thing. And then they're gonna argue. So this is like one of those moments where we get to see kind of the way Gordy and Chris's relationship is. While Gordy's parents don't want him to be friends with Chris, and the whole town expects Chris to be a piece of shit like his older brother, they actually have this really good friendship. They're very close with one another. And in fact, all throughout this, we see Chris supporting Gordy when everybody else that's quote-unquote his friend kind of doesn't support him at all.
Mm-hmm.
All throughout, Chris is always trying to build up Gordy. He never tries to tear him down. He's always trying to build him up and make him feel good about his abilities, his skills, the things that he has done, can do, what he could possibly do. And he defends him later when he pulls the leech off his balls and passes out. Right? So they have honestly, they have what I would say ultimately is a very healthy relationship between the two of them. Mm-hmm. They're not afraid to show affection to one another, as you'll see as time goes on throughout the show, as we talk about it. They have this close friendship. And I think it's important to note, because of all the people that they interact with, of all the other characters, they're the closest of all of them. No,
they're not afraid to be vulnerable with each other.
They're not.
Which is, different from a lot of masculine friendships that you see.
Right. They totally allow themselves to be vulnerable with one another, which that's probably one of the hardest things, I think, in all friendships. It doesn't really matter if it's a masculine friendship or even a feminine friendship. Being vulnerable takes a lot. And when you have the opportunity to be vulnerable or the ability to be vulnerable, it's a good thing. But it's hard for it to manifest a lot of times because we don't like to be vulnerable.
I mean, you have to take those chances when they're presented, because that's what's going to help a relationship deepen, is being vulnerable with one another.
Correct. So after the whole handgun scene and after the bully scene, they end up meeting up with the rest of the kids, and they head out to a junkyard. And the junkyard is the first place where they're all kind of together, and they're talking about their plans to go out to find this body. And they bond at this moment over a common theme, which is Chopper, the dog.
And the myth surrounding Chopper the dog.
Correct. And this happens way past that.
Hey, you kid! What are you doing there? Come over here!
This is literally him running from Chopper.
God damn it! I'll stick my dog on you!
Run, Gordy!
Chopper! Sick him, boy!
Now he said,
well, I
sick 'em
picked this scene
but what I heard
because
was,
of
Chopper,
Corey
sick
Feldman's
balls.
character and how he and the junkyard man interact.
That's Chopper!
So I want to point out, up until this, they had never seen Chopper. They just assumed that Chopper was this big, vicious junkyard dog. Which in my mind means that Chopper was basically a Rottweiler.
Rottweiler, pit bull, something.
Right. So that's what they thought Chopper was going to be. Not this, yippy golden retriever that Chopper turns out to be. I don't think they realized they could have just thrown something and Chopper probably would have chased it instead of them. So
I think the beast from Sandlot was scarier than Chopper.
Yeah, right? So, but the thing that becomes important about this scene, so they all have this idea in their head of what Chopper was. This is what Chopper turns out to be. But what's worse, I think, than the dog is the guy who runs the junkyard. He's a straight up piece of trash. And I just want to put that out there because, yeah, he's a straight up piece of fucking trash. So
Agreed.
Let's get right on with that.
Chopper was my first lesson in the vast difference between myth and reality.
Come on, Choppy! Kiss my ass, Choppy! Kiss my ass! Come on! Fight shit!
Just lay there.
Come on, Choppy! Sick balls, Choppy!
Kids, stop teasing that dog! You hear me? Stop teasing him! Sonny, I'm gonna beat your ass teasing my dog like that.
Yeah, I like to see Troy climb over his fence and get me fat ass.
Don't you call me that, you little tin weasel peckerwood loony son.
What did you call me?
I know who you are. You're Teddy Duchamp. Your dad's a loony. A loony up in the nut house in Togus. He took your ear and he put it to a stove and he burnt it off.
My father stormed the beach at Normandy.
He's crazier than a shithouse rat. No wonder you're acting the way you are, with a loony for a father.
You call my dad a loony again, and I'll kill you.
Loony, loony, loony.
Ah! I'm gonna rip your head off and shit down your neck! No! I'm gonna kill him!
You come on and try it, you little slimy bastard!
He wants you to go over there so he can beat the piss out of you and then take you to the cops.
You watch your mouth, smart guy. Let him do his own fighting.
Sure, you only outweigh him by 500 pounds, fat ass!
I know your name. You're the chance. I know all you guys. And all your fathers are gonna get a call from me. Except for the loony up in Togus.
Oh, come on, man! Get away from me!
Foul mouth, whoa master!
You son of a bitch!
You come back here! Come back here, you hear me?
Nobody wakes up my old man!
Come back here!
My father stormed the beach!
I said come back here!
He stormed the beach, you faggot!
Come back here!
We showed him. Thought we were a bunch of pussies.
You raped my old man.
I wondered how Teddy could care so much for his dad who practically killed him, and I couldn't give a shit about my own dad who hadn't laid a hand on me since I was 3. And that was for eating bleach under the sink.
You raped my old man.
Why do you care what a fat old pile of shit like him says about your dad? He still stormed the beach at Normandy, right?
Forget it.
You think that pile of shit was at Normandy?
Forget it, all right?
He don't know nothing about your old man. He's just dog shit. Whatever is between you and your old man, he can't change that.
Forget it, all right? Just forget it.
I really like this scene for a lot of reasons. First, let's talk about the trauma of this scene. The dog is fucking scary, I don't care. You got a dog chasing you barking? Scary.
Yeah.
But what really makes this scene great is that they actually all bond over his trauma. His trauma with his dad. And this is actually a really good unifying moment for all of them. It's the only time you actually see Teddy be vulnerable.
Right.
He always tries to put on a strong face. He acts like he's untouchable. And then I'm almost to some level, I think, and even the boys call him on it later, acting like he has a death wish. And
yeah.
He does always pretty much have that mentality. This is the only time we really see him be vulnerable. But the other thing that I really like about this scene that I think is really important isn't anything other than the fact that the one character who's supposed to be garbage in the town's eyes is like holding on to his friend, helping him, and trying to support him and build him back up and be like, hey man, it doesn't matter what other people say. It doesn't matter what happened between you and your old man. That's between you guys.
Right. I mean, that scene, Teddy, this is, like you said, it's the first time you've seen him be vulnerable. And to be fair to, like, the townspeople, they didn't really understand shell shock, or what we now know as post-traumatic stress disorder, because that's pretty much what his dad was suffering from, and that's probably what he went to the hospital for.
Right, exactly. And, I mean, if, his dad stormed the beach at Normandy, I mean, anybody, you're gonna come back from that changed. I mean,
just watch Saving Private Ryan in the beginning scene. You'll be changed.
Yeah, and I remember a lot of veterans when the movie came out that saw it, that had, especially vets who had been there, that saw it. They were like, that was almost too real.
Yep.
I felt like I was there again. And, like, they were re-traumatized from that experience. And so I think it's important to note that we don't know much, we don't get much background on any of the kids, to be honest. We've gotten most of the background we're going to get on any of them except for Gordy by this point in the movie. And this is the only thing that lets you know why Teddy acts the way Teddy acts. Period. That's it. We know that bad shit happened with him and his dad.
Yep. And he covers it up by acting untouchable and also like a mascot. He very much has humor deflection.
He does. He does have humor deflection. He's not the punching bag.
No, that's Jerry's character.
That's the other character. But still, this scene hurts. I mean, as you watch it, even when I rewatched it, I forgot how powerful this scene was. Just because there's that moment, where he's trying to fight. Like, honestly, if he had stepped out from the other side of the fence, I'm pretty sure Teddy would have gone full Hulk on his ass. And, tried to kill him. And it's at this point, none of the boys except for Gordy know that Chris has the gun. Which is probably for the better, because Teddy probably would have used it without thinking about it at that point in time.
I agree, because he had just had that flash of rage and almost blinding rage at that point. You can see him jump at the junkyard man, just
he was ready to go full throttle. And the thing that we don't see shortly after this, because this clip stops here, where I paused, is he actually then apologizes to... That was annoying.
What happened?
I got an update screen popped up.
It wasn't me this time.
Did I suddenly blank out?
Yeah.
What was I trying to say? I lost my whole train of thought now.
Teddy apologized.
We don't see it, but Teddy does apologize for being mean to his friends. Actually, that's what he apologizes to them for lashing out at them when he wasn't really angry at them. And it's important because part of this movie really is about this friendship bonding, right? And having that, showing that, and modeling it. Each one of these boys models so much in terms of just like masculine bonding in positive and negative ways, and it's like really important to see that, because I think that's something that often gets lost in translation in newer movies. We don't see it as much, and it's one of the things that really, like the title says, every one of these boys is standing by the other one. Like, every one of them is trying to support the other. They're all standing with each other regardless of what happens. They're trying to tough it out as friends.
At least at this particular time.
Yes, at this particular moment in their lives. Let's put it that way. And I think after that, our next clip is the train. So they walk along for a while, and what they run into is a split. And they can take the long way around to get to a bridge, which I think was something like 5 miles in a direction they didn't want to go, and then 5 miles back, which means they would have had a 10-mile trek. Or they could cut across the train tracks. So it's actually just a bridge that's going across this part of the river where it's, kind of a gorge, right? And that's where they, that's where they head to from this point. In fact, actually, this comes up almost immediately after this.
I think we brought this up while we were watching the movie, that this is the second movie that has train tracks and Kiefer Sutherland, but not...
And Corey Feldman.
Yeah, and Corey Feldman.
We did, and it made me question whether or not this was the same set of train tracks that they used. Anyways, getting to the next part of this.
Oh, now I have that song stuck in my head.
That wide angle shot that they did right there makes it look like those tracks are like really deep. And then when they're walking along them and looking down, it doesn't look like the same height. Did you notice that?
No. I like how Gordy is actually like feeling the tracks to see if he can feel vibration.
Oh, shit.
What? There was such a weird cut.
Force crossing the tracks.
Get your ass up and... I don't think they want to ride this train, Kai.
Yeah, I don't think they want to ride this train
know who Jerry's character reminds me of right there? Chunk in the Goonies. It can be.
Hey, at least now we know when the next train was due.
Such a smart ass comment. I love it so much. So we do see. So this scene to me when I was a kid and I first watched this movie, it was fucking terrified me. As I watch it as an adult, I'm like, that train had plenty of time to stop. It wasn't even a big train. It was like the engine, one car, and the fucking caboose. That guy could have pulled on the brakes and stopped on, like.
So what I hear you saying is the conductor was an asshole.
Yeah, the conductor was basically like, "I'll fucking run you kids down. Choo choo, bitch."
And this is where you go, Kai. Come on, ride the train, the choo-choo train. All right. What was the smart-ass comment? Like, oh, the train's here.
Well, no, because now we know when the next train was due.
Oh, that's right.
What? Oh man, now I've got that song in my head now.
You can blame Kai.
So, anyways, and the other thing about, like, they barely make it off the tracks, right? According to what we're seeing on camera, right? Is that they barely make it off the tracks. Definitely would have been a trauma bonding moment there for Gordy and Jerry, or Jerry's character. But the other thing is that what's really funny to me is that he really stands with him right there on the tracks. He could have just left him and been like, "Get your ass up and run," and kept on running. And I'm trying to think, like, if my friends and I, because we did a lot of stupid shit when I was a kid, had done that, what would I have done? I probably would have been the one that kept running and been like, "Get your ass up and run!" I don't think I would have stopped and been like, "Get up or we're gonna die." I would have been like, "If you keep laying there, you dead meat. I'll see you at the other side."
I think I would have probably done what Gordy did and been like, let's go, move it up to a point.
I mean, I like to think I would do that, but if I'm being 100% honest, I'd have left your ass laying on the tracks.
I mean, if we're talking about me when I was working with troubled youth and they were like, "Miss Nikki, so if a bear comes around, what happens?" Like, well, I just got to trip one of you.
I mean, that's just it. Listen, you only got to be faster than the slowest person.
Exactly.
If I'm running from a bear or I'm running from fucking zombies, if you think I'm not gonna trip your ass so I can get ahead, you are sadly mistaken. I will feed you to whatever's behind me so I can survive. I'm just being upfront and honest right now. I'm all about me.
So Sarah will not be in the apocalypse bunker.
No. Well, I mean, you can take me to your apocalypse bunker. I will fully appreciate it. I will pay that back in kind by not making you the one that I trip and kill.
That's good to know. Unless we're the only two there.
The only time I would not trip and kill is if the difference was between me and my daughter and I was running with my daughter. I would pick her up and throw her and sacrifice myself. Well, that's it. The rest of you motherfuckers on your own.
So now we know where Sarah stands in the apocalypse. Got it?
Listen, you can't keep breathing if you offer yourself up for death, okay? I'm just saying.
So from here, while I think they're still on this high from the train, they get into the swamp, don't they?
From here, no, from here they make camp.
I thought the Legion was first.
No. Camp is next. Because they stop and they make camp, and this is where we start to learn a little bit about Gordy's past. And we start to learn about what it is that makes Gordy so special, or Gordy so special. Gordy different from the way the rest of the people look at people in town, because Gordy's brother was a football star, and all of this yada 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 yada. In fact, what we didn't see is the part before the junkyard where Gordy goes out to buy the food that we're gonna have later in the night, and the guy in the shop is like, oh yeah, your brother was a football star. You like football, right? Football's great. You gonna be a football player like your brother was? You gonna be awesome like your brother? Like, literally, that's how the town sees him, as just a miniature version of his brother. Not as his own individual person, not as his own independent human being, as another version of his brother. That's what the town sees. And oftentimes, people fall into that trap with their kids, right? We see our kids as miniature versions of us. And then we live vicariously through our kids, and we have our kids do all the things we couldn't do that we wanted to do, and we push them down this road, and we don't let them be their own independent person, and we don't let them find things for themselves. Gordy's parents took the opposite track after his brother died, and instead of trying to push him into sports or make him do a thing, they just kind of abandoned him to his whims.
They neglected him.
And they neglected him. But even when his brother was alive, just want to point out, they didn't give a shit about his talents.
Yep. Around the dinner table was that scene where John Cusack plays the brother, and he's like, yeah, you know, Gordy wrote this great story and but his dad is wanting to strategize with the older brother
about football,
and the mom wanted to talk about him dating a girl, and then Gordy's just kind of sitting there like lost in the sauce doing his own thing.
Right, and then Dad gets mad at Mom because he's like, this is why you don't talk to him about girls at the table, you're distracting him. Dad was kind of a douche, always, 100%, just saying. He definitely wasn't Leave It to fucking Beaver's dad, okay?
Yeah. We have a lot of movies with deadbeat dads.
Well, just douchey dads. Not even necessarily deadbeat dads. Just douchey dads. I mean, okay, wait, let's see here. Never Ending Story, douchey dad. Last Unicorn, the king was a douchey dad.
Yep.
Who else had douchey dads? Lost Boys, douchey dad. Well,
yep,
Dad was not trying to be a douche. He wanted a mom for his kids.
Yeah, he wanted a mom. He just had a different perspective on what a mom was going to be.
Yes. So I can't know if I could put him in the label of douchey dad.
My Girl, the dad was an absentee father until he finally got over his own grief.
Which dad?
Dan Aykroyd, My Girl.
Oh, yeah. And he didn't really get over his grief until his daughter had to go through grief.
And
then he was like, oh, shit, I need to get my head out of my ass. My kid's suffering. Yep. So we got 3 movies with douchey dads right now, because I'm not counting Lost Boys. What else?
What was the last one? We just did it.
Our last movie?
Yeah. We just did our last movie.
And I don't even remember. Wow, that is terrible. I don't remember what our last movie was.
Land Before Time had no dad.
And Land Before Time had no dad. Secret of NIMH had no dad.
E.T. had a douchey dad. He left his kids.
Oh yeah, E.T. had douchey dad. That's 4. Left douchey dad left. Land Before Time, Secret of NIMH. I think
Beetlejuice.
Jurassic Park, no douchey dad, just a douchey uncle, or douchey grandpa.
Beetlejuice had an absentee dad.
Huh?
Beetlejuice had like an absentee dad.
Yeah, Lydia's dad was an absentee dad. Well, no, Lydia's mom was absentee. Mom was stepmom, wasn't it? Wasn't stepdad. Wasn't it stepmom?
Yeah, it was stepmom.
Yeah. So, but dad was kind of lost in his own fucking mix. Okay, so there's 5 douchey dads so far, so I guess this makes 6. Now, we're on a roll with douchey dads. We've got a real problem. The douchey dads of TMTTU. What?
Wow. We did not pick it based on that, I promise.
We really did not. I never realized how many douchey dads. We need to talk about the societal problem that we have in movies of douchey dads.
Wow, maybe we need to intentionally find a movie with a good dad.
I think maybe...
I mean, Jonathan Frisbee was a good dad. He just died.
Well, yeah, but we can't use him. We need a good dad throughout the whole movie.
Okay. That's a quest at some point, if I remember.
good dad throughout the whole movie, but not a movie that traumatizes Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yes. I would agree with that.
He starts off the movie as a douchey dad, though. I would want to point that out. That's why his wife left him. He was a douchey dad.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily to his kids, mind you. He was just a douchey husband, I guess. I don't know. Okay, maybe that's a bad example. Doesn't work. Okay, so new quest. TMTTU will find a movie that is a traumatizing movie that has a good dad throughout the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
We're on a quest. I'm not sure if we can find one.
Going through the
We got this. All right. So, anyways, so we get onto the story. Sorry, as we got off on our own little tangent. We get onto the pie eating contest, which
What he wanted was revenge. And right before he was introduced, he'd gotten ready for it.
Principal John Wiggins.
a whole fucking bottle of castor oil. It just makes me want to vomit thinking about it. I'm just like,
And our celebrity contestant from KLAM in Portland, the boss man himself.
But this also shows how, like, Gordy sees adults in
yes,
the towns.
Hey, from the Racks and Stacks, it's the best on wax. How about another double golden rolling twin spin sound sandwich from KLAM in Portland? It's
done!
Ugh.
Diving into his fifth pie, Lardass began to imagine that he wasn't eating pies. He pretended he was eating cow flops and rat guts and blueberry sauce. Slowly, a sound started to build
earlier
in
today
Lardass'
they were
stomach.
looking for a good barfing picture.
A strange and scary sound, like a
Oh,
log truck coming at you 100 miles an hour.
I apologize, viewers. Here comes the trauma.
I can't watch this. Ugh.
Suddenly, Lardass opened his mouth. And before Bill Travis knew it, he was covered with 5 pies worth of used blueberries. The women in the audience screamed. Boss man Bob Cormier took
right in
one
the
look
mouth.
at Bill Travis and barfed on Principal Wiggins.
Some people like
Principal Wiggins barfed on a lumberjack
Yeah, that's
that was
not my
sitting
kink,
next
dude.
to him.
Ugh.
Mayor Grundy barfed on his wife's tits.
Can't watch
But when the
it
smell hit
anymore.
the crowd, that's when Lardass' plan really started to work. Girlfriends barfed on boyfriends. Kids barfed on their parents. A fat lady barfed in her purse. The Donnelly twins barfed on each other. And the women's auxiliary barfed all over the Benevolent Order of Antelopes. And Lardass
I love that
just
the
sat
women's
back and
auxiliary
enjoyed
barfs
the
all over the Benevolent Order of Antelopes.
Right.
That's like one of my favorite lines from his whole story. The fact that he put the women's auxiliary in, barfing all over the Benevolent Order of Antelope. That's like the coup de grace on his whole story. Like, doesn't matter. Even the old people got fucked over by this.
The Benevolent Order of the Antelopes.
But I think what's important here is that, you know, you get a glimpse into Gordy's view of kids, or of adults to the kids, and the way they treat each other, and the way they're just kind of filled with this malice towards difference.
Yeah. Well, look at his dad.
Well, yeah, douchey dad, once again.
Anything that's different from how his dad thinks is bad.
How his dad perceives the world. Anything else is bad. This scene, this is the other scene. I just wanted to note, this is the other scene that added to the trauma rating for this movie. Was this scene, because I mean, it's just rough.
Yeah.
Like, watching people puke all over. Just like that's not what did it on me. Like, not my kink either. But I mean, the thing that really got me was watching him like chug the bottle of castor oil and then crack the raw egg. That's like the part that I'm just like,
My mom gave me castor oil once. One time. Never again.
Yeah. Now he would have just been like, give me a spoonful of Ipecac.
No.
So around this, right after this, then we get to another bonding moment between Chris and Gordy. And actually, I think this takes place between all the boys, because this is still at the campfire, and Chris talks about the milk money.
I think the other boys are asleep.
Are they asleep? Is this just Chris and
It's just Chris and Gordy.
Yeah, so this just comes back to their relationship and how close they are, and the way that they deal with this, right? And the way that they deal with situations around them, and the way people perceive them, and how people have acted towards them.
No one even asked me if I took the milk money that time. I just got a 3-day vacation. Did you take it? Yeah, I took it. You knew I took it. Teddy knew I took it. Everyone knew I took it. Even Vern knew it, I think. Maybe I was sorry and I tried to give it back.
You tried to give it back?
Maybe. Just maybe. And maybe I took it to old lady Simons and told her, and the money was all there. But I still got a 3-day vacation because it never showed up. And maybe the next week, old lady Simons had this brand new skirt on when she came to school.
Yeah, it was brown and had dots on it.
Yeah. So let's just say that I stole the milk money, but old lady Simon stole it back from me. Just suppose that I told the story. Me, Chris Chambers, kid brother to Eyeball Chambers. Do you think that anyone would have believed it?
Oh.
And do you think that that bitch would have dared tried something like that if it'd been one of those douchebags from up on the View if they had taken the money?
No way. Hell no.
But with me? Well, I'm sure she had her eye on that skirt for a long time. Anyway, she saw her chance and she took it. I was the stupid one for even trying to give it back. Just never thought. I never thought the teacher.
I think this just shows how great an actor River Phoenix
Anyway.
was.
Right?
Will Wheaton, too.
I just wish that I could go someplace where nobody knows me.
You know, what I really love about this, though, I mean, and I've said this before, I mean, it just really highlights their bond and the fact that they can be vulnerable with one another. Being vulnerable like that takes a lot, especially from the male perspective. Society builds up male friendships as these, you know, knock them around. Oftentimes we see, you know, kids playing on the playground and boys who are supposed to be friends beating the shit out of each other, and, oh, they're just boys being boys. And, you know, the reality is that this is probably a better example of what boys being boys should look like than that.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And it takes a lot. And Gordy is the only character that he feels comfortable even telling the truth of the story to. Because he knows that Gordy is going to believe him.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, who would ever have thought that a teacher would betray him? None of us would ever expect that a teacher would betray us, right? Because there's, like so many people in a position of authority, someone we're supposed to innately trust.
Right. That's who they tell you to talk to if something goes wrong. Teacher, clergy member, parents, coach, those people that are in positions of authority.
Yeah.
So who would think a teacher would be this unethical? Even though we know differently in the real world. However, kids
don't. And kids have a hard time understanding that concept, that not everyone who's supposed to be on your side or be good is good. And especially when society has a tendency to make you be, regardless of the facts and regardless of the truth, they make you out to be whatever a previous rendition is. In this case, they're making him out to be his brother, because they want him so much to act like his brother, and because they're so sure that he's going to be nothing but like his brother, that he will amount to nothing but trouble and problems, he slowly starts to become that. But then he rails against it, but in an effort to maintain their homeostatic position of, no, he's this way, the teacher has to steal the money and place the blame on him.
Exactly.
Because otherwise, it doesn't fit their worldview anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He broke her worldview by handing the money back and being like, I tried to do this. It was the wrong thing to do. I feel bad. I'm giving it back. I'm really sorry. I'll take my punishment. He got punished for giving it back. He wouldn't have cared if he got punished for giving it back. What he cared about is that he gave it back and they still accused him of stealing it because she didn't actually give it back.
Yeah, she didn't give it back. She went out and bought a dress.
And he had no way to take it to the truth.
Mm-hmm.
None.
Because no one's going to believe him due to his reputation. It's his word against a teacher's.
Exactly. Exactly. And we all know what that feels like. We've all been there. We've all been in the, well, who are they going to believe? Me or the person in power?
Yep.
We've all been there. It doesn't matter if it's been your boss at a job. It doesn't matter if it was a teacher. It doesn't matter if it was an adult. We have all been there. Who are they going to believe? The kid or the adult? Now, I'm the first to say, and I don't know, I can't speak for Nicki, but when a kid comes to me and tells me something, I'll believe the kid before I believe the adult.
I typically believe the kid, especially if I'm, like, in counseling, when I'm counseling a kid. I'm going to look at the kid's view first before talking to the parents, and then, like, hey, parents, this is what's going on. At least this is what I see, according to, if the kid gives me permission to talk about it.
Right.
It's like, this is what's going on. What's actually happening from your side, because this is what the kid is saying. So it's not painting you in a very good light.
Right. Oh, they're just making shit up. The number of times I've heard that throughout my life. Oh, you're just making shit up. That can't
Obviously,
really be the way it is. You know, let's talk about social mask theory for a moment, because I think this is really important, right? Because we all, and it applies to this all the same, because boys are the kings of wearing masks. These boys will be vulnerable with each other, and then they will go back out into the world and never show that vulnerability to anybody else. Because the world has made it unsafe for boys or men to show vulnerability, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't want that. We don't like that.
Yep. It's okay for them to be angry.
Masks are an important part of our social structure, unfortunately, and we all wear them. You know, I was explaining that to somebody today. The person that you see on the other side of this camera, this is Streamy Therapist Sarah. It's not Sarah in real life. I mean, those of you on this stream that know me in real life would be like, what the fuck is this bitch talking about? This is exactly what she's like in real life. But I mean, the truth is that what we see of a person isn't always how the person really is, right? Because what we see is that version of the person. That version that is in that social situation and therefore supposed to be acting a certain way according to social standards and mores, right? So those social mores and norms are important, and they're how we operate. But our mask changes based on our social situation. You wear a different mask to school than you wear at home at the dinner table. You wear a different mask at work than you wear at home at the dinner table or at school. You wear a different mask when you're out with your friends than you do at work, at school, at the dinner table, right? We all wear different masks depending on our social situation. The only time you don't generally wear a mask is when you're alone. When you're by yourself. Because in those moments, you are free to be you. The boys here are wearing their masks still, but they're wearing their masks that allow them to be vulnerable with one another. And it's very important to see that, because this vulnerability is what allows them to build a friendship that's bonded and has a good balance to it. They're not trying to one-up each other. It's not keeping up with the Joneses or is my dick bigger than yours, right? They're trying to strike this balance between, like, we're tough guys, but we're vulnerable guys. Even if it's only with each other. Because the difference is now somebody out in the world knows that they can be vulnerable. And that can go a long way for somebody who's used to feeling like they're supposed to be invincible, or used to feeling like they're supposed to be exactly like this. When someone knows the truth, like Gordy now knows about Chris,
Mm-hmm.
it can take a huge weight off your shoulders because someone else now knows that it wasn't that he stole the money and never gave it back. Yes, he took the money, but he felt bad and tried to give it back, and that's the important thing.
And that's why having those relationships with anybody, like a therapist or parent, friend, are so important. You have someone that you can be vulnerable with, or at least practice being vulnerable with.
Right. So we're gonna go from this. The boys didn't sleep off the rest of the night. They did their part keeping... this is the first night where they kept watch, right? They all had the gun.
With their fingers on the trigger the whole time.
The whole night. I don't have a prop gun,
No,
but I've got my lighter. Literally, the whole night they're like this. Not like this. Not like this. Like this, the whole night, just waiting to fucking shoot somebody when something goes wrong. And one of the boys, who was it? Was it
Jerry.
Teddy? Or was it Jerry's character? Who was like, the whole night was like...
That was Jerry's character.
Jumping
The
at
whole...
every sound, pointing the gun, and I was like, motherfucker gonna accidentally pull that trigger and kill somebody like that. Holy shit.
Like he's gonna have a stroke just holding this gun.
I know. He's gonna fucking have a grand tonic seizure and just suddenly start shooting
Just
people. Pop, 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 pop. Alright, now that my rant about basic gun safety is done, woo! They wake up the next morning and they decide to go for a walk. So, they continue on their journey. And their journey takes them to a swamp. So again, they're faced with an option. Go around 2 miles. I think this one was much shorter, like 2 miles out of the way. Or just cross it. And they choose to cross it, which doesn't necessarily seem like a bad idea. I will say that this traumatized me enough as a kid that I did not like getting in random bodies of water. I gotta throw that out there.
I think twice about going into swamp water or lakes.
Yeah.
Anywhere where there are these wonderful creatures.
Yes. Here we go.
Sleeper hold! Cereal gets that in the sleeper hold! Vern, there's something on your neck.
Man, I gotta walk the rest of the way in this witch.
No, Vern, there is something on your neck.
It's a leech.
Leeches! Oh my God! Jesus Christ! Oh my God!
So
Get him on! Lay off me! I'm done!
Hey, Cordy, man, there's someone on your back.
Get him on! Get him on! Get him on! They're on your back!
Are they on mine, man?
My face!
The face!
Oh shit, man!
So my dick.
Also notice this is the only leech that have blood.
Gordy, man, are you okay? Gordy! Can you hear me? Gordy, are you there?
Maybe he's
I
dead.
really shouldn't.
He's not dead. He's still breathing, you idiot.
Well, I don't know.
Hey, it's cool, you guys. Just fainted. 40?
God, I never met anybody who fainted before.
Maybe he made a bad mistake and looked at your face.
Shut up, Teddy. You okay, Gordy?
Yeah.
Let's go.
I mean, I'm just saying. This scene made me afraid of leeches for the rest of my life.
All I can think about is like the seed tick fiasco that happened to me one summer. Oh, it's awful.
Wait, so is this the story you were gonna share?
This is the story.
Okay, let's
So
hear it.
I worked as a camp counselor at a Boy Scout camp for several summers.
Well, there was your first mistake. Was that a Boy Scout?
Well, I was a Boy Scout.
There was your second mistake. I don't have any room to talk. I was a Boy Scout too.
Anyway, okay. So, and this was in Georgia, and they have these particular ticks called seed ticks. They're very small, and they're really hard to see, and they like to swarm in big groups. So it should have been like life foreshadowing, because I saw one person the week before have an issue with them. Like these big black bands around their ankles where the seed ticks had in. Yes. So I was clearing out brush, and I started noticing these little specks climbing up my legs and went, what the fuck? And realized it was a swarm of seed ticks that had gotten on my ankles and were crawling all the way up to the nether regions. So I get in the shower with a credit card scraper, just scraping them off my legs everywhere. I had to have a friend kind of look in places that I could not reach or look at to make sure that they were all gone. Yeah, I know how Will Wheaton feels.
All right. Well, I don't have a story that can top that. But speaking of ticks, did you guys hear about the mRNA vaccine for Lyme disease?
Speaking of ticks,
I might develop one after this. Holy shit.
The whole song, I'm going to check you for ticks.
You know, okay, so I had a rat, speaking of that song, I had a rat and she absolutely loved that song. Except when we had gotten her, she had a mite infestation. And so we used to always change check you for ticks to check you for mites. She, for whatever reason, this little rat, her name was Tiffany. She absolutely loved that song. If you could play any song in the world, it didn't matter. But you put that song on and she was like...
She would bop to it?
Yeah, she would bop to it every time. She loved that song. And then, you know, it's what we even used to play it for her when she got sick and she was dying. We would play it for her, and she would just still sit there. Just, it was the cutest thing. Oh my god, it was the cutest thing. Anyways, so this is the other scene that adds to the trauma rating of this movie. I'm sorry, man, but did you notice the tick that he pulled off of his balls is the only one that had blood?
The other ones had blood too, but that was like the most blood.
I didn't see any blood from the other ones. I just saw the red spots.
I think one, like, they pulled him off the hands, you could see, like, blood spots that happened. But yeah, that was the one with, I would agree, that's the one with the most, like, visible.
Obvious blood? Yeah.
Yes.
So, next, I believe, the next scene that we have after this is about the time that they reach the body. And they find the body. Now, what I find really interesting about this scene is none of the boys were allowed to see the actor who played the dead kid until the moment they found him. So, I just want to point out that even if this scene wasn't traumatizing to you, for the actors, and this is the part where I really wish that Will Wheaton had made this stream, because I really would like to know, were they, like, shocked? Like, did this scene give them trauma? Because the simple fact that they weren't allowed to see the body at all. They weren't allowed to know what he looked like because the director wanted the most genuine reactions possible. So, the kid was dead.
Coming through the woods, I bet we saved over an hour. Teddy?
Yeah?
This the back Harlow Road? Yeah. Brower kid must be around here someplace. Teddy, you and Vern watch the left side of the tracks. We'll take the right.
All right.
There he is! I see him! Look! Look, over there! I see him! I see him!
None of us could breathe. Somewhere under those bushes was the rest of Ray Brower. The train had knocked Ray Brower out of his keds, just like it had knocked the life out of his body.
Jesus.
The kid wasn't sick. The kid wasn't sleeping. The kid was dead.
Yep, that's what a dead body looks like.
Let's look for some long branches. We'll build him a stretcher. Gordy? Why did you have to die?
What's the matter with Gordy?
Nothing. Why don't you guys just go over there and look for some branches, okay?
It's a pretty genuine reaction to seeing a dead body. I don't think her microphone's on.
It is. And you know, I think it's for him, there's a lot of reminders about his brother.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he's going through right there. And I think it's really interesting how they did this scene as a whole. Like, from the director's standpoint, they did a great job with it. Like, all of their reactions are just like that stunned, shock, genuine kind of response to what they're seeing. They did a great job with the makeup on the body. They didn't make it look grotesque. They didn't make it look ridiculous, right? Like, they just make it look like a kid who got hit by
a train.
Yeah, hit by a train, thrown from the tracks, and just left out in the elements.
That's what it would look like, and I think it had a lot of, like you were saying, for Gordy's character, because his brother died in a car accident or a Jeep accident. So that's what his brother probably would have looked like.
And we don't know what the funerary service is. I mean, we saw a flashback for it in the movie, but all we really saw was them lowering the casket into the ground. We never really saw, like, if it was an open casket kind of thing or anything like that, so we don't know much about that other than he died, and his parents literally just sort of ignored him after that. So there's a lot to it. There's a lot to process in that scene, right? But again, it's one more place where Chris Chambers steps up to the plate and is like, hey, he's all right. And he goes to comfort his friend while he sends the rest of his friends off to do what the rest they were going to do. They're all speculating, and he's like, hey, man, it's nothing to worry about. Don't worry about it. Go do the thing. And he goes and takes care of his friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I think our next clip... So our next clip actually is the reverse now. Everybody else runs off scared with what's happening next.
You guys have two choices. You either leave quietly, we take the body, or you stay, we beat the shit out of you, and we take the body.
Besides, me and Billy found him first.
Yeah, Vern told us how you found him.
Oh, Billy, I wish we never boosted that car. Oh, Billy, I think I just turned my Fruit of the Looms into a fudge factory.
That's it. Your ass is grass.
Hold it.
I just turned my Fruit of the Looms into a
Okay,
fudge
Chambers, you
factory.
little faggot. This is your last chance. What do you say, kid?
Why don't you go home and fuck your mother some more?
Mom jokes.
You're dead.
Come on, Chris, let's split.
They're not taking
Come on,
him.
man, this is crazy.
They're not taking him.
He's got a knife, man.
Jeez, come on, man.
You're gonna have to kill me, Ace.
No problem.
You're not taking him. Nobody's taking him.
Come on, kid, just give me the gun before you take your foot off. You ain't got the sack to shoot a woodchuck.
Don't move, Ace. I'll kill you, I swear to God.
Come on, LaChance, give me the gun. You must have at least some of your brother's good sense.
Suck my fat one, you cheap dime store hood.
What are you gonna do, shoot us all?
No, Ace. Just you.
I love the balls Will Wheaton's character has at this point in time. Like, throughout the movie, he's been one of the most meek characters in them, and then all of a sudden, he's just like, bitch, I will shoot you.
And what's interesting is in the original The Body, it was Chris's character that had the gun.
Really?
Yep.
And you know, it's one of the few Stephen King shorts that I never read. I don't know how that one escaped me, but...
There were a few changes. That's the only one I can remember at the... this one was set in Oregon, but the surprise, in The Body, it's set in Maine.
Well, I mean, I'm surprised it's not Colorado. It's usually Maine, Colorado. It's like
Mhm.
two main spots to like set shit in, set shit in.
Right. So, but yeah, it was. I liked the twist that the writer did for this because I think it shows more growth from Gordy's character.
I agree. It does show more growth from Gordy's character. And, you know, and it's another place where he gets to stand up and defend Chris.
Mhm.
And I think that partially comes out of the fact that, you know, in this, and I can almost see this being the justification for the change in the story itself, is that this is giving Chris the opportunity to have an out where he's not the bad guy. Where nobody can come back on him and be like, oh, you're the bad guy. Sure, they can come back and say, well, you're the one who took the gun, but he's not the one that pulled it on everybody. That's
right.
Gordy. Gordy did that. And I think that that's important.
Mm-hmm.
I think after this is just sort of the wrap-up that the narrator gives in terms of, you know, what happens to everybody at the end. And it's sort of like after this all happens, they all have this kind of big bonding moment. But the trauma of this actually is probably what also causes them to diffuse. And they start to go their separate ways shortly after this. They don't stay together as a group. They stay in touch, but they stay in touch the way you stay in touch with friends from 10 years ago that live 100 miles away.
Mm-hmm. Like you see each other in passing, you might write letters. Nowadays, you would just be friends with them on Facebook and like their stuff.
Shoot them a text message every couple of months where you're like, hey, how you doing? And that's kind of the extent of it.
I'm never gonna get out of this town, am I, Gordy?
You can do anything you want, man.
Yeah.
Sure.
Give me some skin. I'll see you. Not if I see you first.
Chris did get out. He enrolled in the college courses with me, and although it was hard, he gutted it out like he always did. He went on to college and eventually became a lawyer. Last week, he entered a fast food restaurant. Just ahead of him, 2 men got into an argument. One of them pulled a knife. Chris, who had always made the best piece, tried to break it up. He was stabbed in the throat. He died almost instantly.
Kind of a shit ending for a guy who actually made something of himself.
Yeah,
Stabbed in the throat and killed.
Became a lawyer.
Yeah,
tried
one
to
of the other kids also. None of the other kids died, but I forgot something happened. Was it to Teddy?
Teddy became a janitor.
Yeah, I don't remember what happened to Jerry's character. Vern.
I don't either.
Sorry, Vern, you were the joke.
Oh yeah, it was Vern instead of Jerry.
Yeah, he became the joke. I mean, he was the butt of the joke, so he was, throughout the whole movie. I don't remember what happened to his character. Something weird.
I think they just stopped talking. Like when they went to high school, they said they drifted apart, and he just got married, had kids, stayed in the town.
Right. So, and just, one of those things. But it kind of sucks, he got out, he went to college, became a lawyer, and all he did was try to keep 2 people from doing something dumb, and instead they stabbed him in the throat and cost him his life. And this is what brings the group back together, is this, because they're all going to his funeral.
Oh, is that where the sequel goes?
I don't know if that's where the sequel goes. I never watched the sequel.
I found out the sequel today, so
I always forget that there's a sequel to this movie because it doesn't seem to me like there should ever be a sequel to this movie.
Yeah, it's kind of like Sandlot having a sequel, or any of these coming-of-age movies, like My Girl having a sequel.
Right. It's just bizarre to me. It just strikes me as strange. So all things considered, I mean, as a whole, this movie has lots of little moments of trauma. It doesn't actually end on a happy note either. And I think this makes the second movie I've had to talk about that doesn't end on a happy note to absolve you of the trauma that they put you through. But just like the last movie, which was E.T. that did this, where it doesn't necessarily... Well, E.T. ended on a happy note. It wasn't E.T., was it the one before that? No,
and Beetlejuice.
One of the other ones ends on a not happy note. What was it?
My Girl didn't end on a happy note.
Maybe it was My Girl. Yeah.
Like, it was quick enough to be like, no, the grief had not been resolved that much for Veda yet. And then...
Right, yeah, so it was My Girl. But this makes the second movie that I've had to talk about that doesn't really end on a happy note. And usually the happy note is what absolves you of the trauma that the movie put you through. But like My Girl, the trauma here is really small. It's these little tidbits of trauma that you could really overlook if you're not paying close attention, right? We don't think about the fact that the leeches scene scarred me enough that, like, after that I became wary of, like, strange bodies of water, right? When I first saw this movie, I was like, nope, I don't want to just go jump into the pond anymore, right? That wasn't a thing anymore that I could do because I was like, aha, leeches. I don't want leeches, right?
Yes.
Train tracks, that never really bothered me, but that probably should have. I spent way too much time playing around train tracks. But this movie has these little moments of trauma and all these little things that just sort of happen. And then we get to the end, and the movie ends with you finding out how Chris dies. And that in and of itself is just another piece of trauma. And that's really where the movie ends. Like, there's a little bit more talking after this.
Yeah, it has Richard Dreyfuss's character typing away on his Commodore whatever computer.
Oh god, yeah, it's terrible.
And then he goes and plays with his kids, and that's it.
Right. He ends on playing with his kids. And that's like the happy note of how the movie ends, is him going out to play with his kids. But the movie really doesn't end there. It ended before that, when he literally was talking about how Chris died.
Mm-hmm.
Because the next scenes are really just him looking out the window at his kids and then going out and playing ball with his kid and his kid's friend. That's it. That was
Yeah, him not being like his dad.
right. Him, because he's his. To fair point, his kid saw him being his douchey dad.
Mm-hmm.
Because he wasn't involved in his kid's life, and that was his way of changing it. Was like, no, I'm gonna go outside and be involved in my kid's life. I'm not just gonna stay here and type on my computer. But there's no real context to that, and so I can't really count that as like the, oh, look, it's a happy ending, right? What I have to count as the ending is the part where he actually ends the story, which is what it's about. The story wasn't about him becoming a better dad. The story was about his friendship with Chris. And it ends the minute he says he died almost instantly. That's where he ended it. That's when he cuts away. You know, he's still chatting a little bit, but they cut away, show him shutting off the computer and going out to play with his kids.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
What do you rate this as?
I rated this as like a 1. I think he wanted to rate it a little higher than that, so I think we might have gone a little bit higher than that and put it at a solid 2, just because it had some moments of trauma, but nothing really terrible. It's a lot of like easy peasy trauma throughout the whole movie. It's nothing that hits you hard and lingers and drags you along, right? It's all little stuff that happens, and then other stuff happens in between, and you kind of forget that the stuff happens, right? It's not like the never-ending story where they hit you hard with a lot of things and then don't really resolve any of it, and then hit you with some more things and don't resolve any of it, and then the next thing that happens is, move, you stupid horse, move! And then they hit you with a bunch more shit, and then you get to the happy fucking ending, where you just want to, like, punch the princess in the face because you're like, you know, you could have just fucking answered that a long time ago, you dumb little twat. But that's
then there wouldn't have been a whole journey of self-discovery.
yeah, you know, you're right, you wouldn't have. But the bitch could have solved the problems a lot sooner and not let her entire kingdom be reduced to the size of a small outcropping with her fucking ivory tower in it. I'm still bitter about this, can you tell? That was our very first movie, and I'm still riding that bitter train.
Well, almost a year, but if we're going back to when you saw the movie, that's like the 80s.
Right.
That's a long time to hold a grudge.
It really is. And I don't hold grudges anymore, but that bitch, she's still on my shit list.
I don't hold grudges, but that bitch is on my shit list. That kind of sounds like a grudge.
And listen, I said I don't hold grudges anymore, but that bitch is still on my shit list. I don't put new ones on there anymore, okay? There's still so many of the old ones on there, I ain't got no more room. There's a reason I had to stop holding grudges. Yes.
The childlike empress has been fathered into the grudge factor, okay?
So anyways.
So our next movie is Gremlins!
Yes! Gremlins! Gremlins for our next movie. Also, guys, if this is your first time out here watching, please give us a follow. Also, use the suggestion box down below. You can absolutely put suggestions of movies you like to see in there. We usually do try to do one movie from us and one movie from the suggestion box. Lately, we haven't really had any new movies in the suggestion box, so we could do with some new ones. And so we've just been doing the other movies that we had slated that we wanted to do. But next month for sure is Gremlins. It's a shame we don't have time to do 2 because I think we were also going to do Sleepy Hollow. But Gremlins definitely takes priority because fucking Gremlins. Come on, guys. Gremlins. Fucking Gremlins, right?
It's Gizmo.
Fuck Gizmo. But you know what? I will tell you right now, the one scene that has stuck with me forever and ever and ever out of Gremlins is Spike melting in that fucking fountain.
Ugh, yeah. Ugh.
So right there, ladies and gentlemen, trauma. Right there. Trauma.
That and them eating the chicken.
Yes.
They have like bit.
Oh, wait. Well, and then the other scene where she like cooks him in the microwave.
Yep.
Oh.
And the gingerbread cookies and the Christmas tree.
We almost don't even need to watch the movie. We're practically doing it right now. Holy shit. All right, guys. Next month is going to be Gremlins. So I hope you guys are excited for it because I'm excited for it because it's Gremlins. Gremlins is awesome. It was such a great movie. It's another movie I'm surprised they haven't tried to redo.
I don't want them to redo it.
I don't want them to redo it either, but I'm surprised that they haven't tried to. So